Welcome to Personal Injury Claims Explained by Foyle Legal, your trusted source for personal injury claims in Western Australia. Each week, we simplify complex legal issues, from motor vehicle accidents to workplace injuries, so you can confidently navigate your rights and secure the compensation you deserve.
Ever bumped into something at work and think, what if this was serious? I bet you've heard of workers' comp, but what's the deal in WA?
Yeah, workers' comp, it's like one of those things you don't think about until, bam, you need it.
Exactly. So today, we're diving deep into workers' compensation, specifically here in Western Australia. And honestly, this is for everyone, not just if you've had an accident at work. Whether you're an employee, an employer, even just someone who likes to stay informed, this is relevant. We're basing our deep dive on some insights from Foyle Legal, a Perth personal injury law firm.
Always good to get that legal angle, right? See how it all actually plays out.
Absolutely. So first things first, imagine you're on the job and you get hurt, or maybe you get sick because of your work.
It's like insurance for exactly that.
Exactly. It's that safety net, but just for work stuff.
And the thing about WA is it's mandatory. Every single employer has to have it, no matter what.
So important to know, right? It's not something you even have to think twice about. It's just there.
Yeah.
Oh, and get this, Foyle Legal, our source today, they've got this free online claim check.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. So if anything we talk about today makes you go, maybe that's me, head to their website, quick check, see where you stand.
Love that. Give people the power,
For sure. Now, most folks, when they hear workers' comp, they think, okay, it pays my medical bills if I get hurt. Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it goes way beyond just the bills.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking rehab programs, right?
Yeah.
To get your strength back, maybe even lump sum payments if, let's say, there's some permanent damage because of the injury.
It's about acknowledging that sometimes there are long-term effects.
Okay, hold on. Permanent damage. What does that even mean, practically speaking?
Good question. So it means the injury or illness, it's got this lasting impact, even after all the treatments, the rehab, everything. Let's say you're on a construction site, you hurt your back. If that leads to like chronic pain, you can't move the same way, even after surgery, physio, that could be considered permanent damage.
Ah, I see. So it's not just getting you back to how you were before. It's taking care of you, even if things are different now.
Exactly. And that's what WA's system tries to do, look after you for the long haul.
That is huge. So we've got medical bills, rehab, potentially these lump sum payments. What else is in the mix?
Believe it or not, even travel costs. Like if you got to see a specialist who's far away or go to physio sessions across town, that can be part of your claim. See, this is why having resources like that Foyle Legal website is gold. So many details. Okay, so that's some of the more, expected stuff. But here's what blew my mind reading all this. Vocational rehabilitation. What in the world is that?
So this is all about getting you back to work, which sounds obvious, but it gets that sometimes your old job just won't work anymore. Say you are a chef and you badly burned your hand. This vocational rehab could mean retraining, but still in food, just something easier on your hand. Or it could even help you switch careers completely, something that works with your skills, but also with whatever limitations you have now.
So it's not just patching up the body, it's about your whole working life, recognizing that one injury can change your entire path.
Exactly. It's giving you the tools to rebuild, both as a person and in your career. And that's key here in WA. And here's where it gets even more interesting, because it's not just the employee, right? There's stuff in this for employers too.
100%. People forget that. See, workers' comp, it's not just about protecting the employee if something goes wrong. It protects the employer too. Because having this insurance, it's like a shield against lawsuits if someone does get hurt or sick because of work.
So it's a win-win situation. Both sides protected and taken care of.
Exactly. That balance is what makes this whole system so interesting, making sure everyone involved is looked after and can move forward.
Okay, we've been deep diving into workers' compensation in WA, and it's got me thinking, what about other states? Is this a one-size-fits-all system?
That's actually a really good question, and a lot of people think that workers' compensation is the same across the country, but it's not.
Right. It's like comparing apples and oranges. Each state has its own way of doing things when it comes to workers' compensation. And our source today actually dives into how it works differently in South Australia and the Northern Territory. What are some of the major differences you noticed?
One of the biggest differences is in the benefits themselves. For example, here in WA, we've learned that travel costs for medical appointments or rehab can be covered. That's not always the case in other states.
So something considered pretty standard here in WA might not even be on the radar across the border. That's why it's so important to understand the specifics of the state where you're working.
Absolutely. Don't assume that what your friend or colleague in another state tells you about their workers' compensation experience will be the same for you here in WA.
Okay, let's say hypothetically, of course, you do experience something at work and you need to make a claim. What's that process actually look like here in WA? Can you walk us through it?
Absolutely. The first step is notifying your employer. As soon as you experience a workplace injury or illness, it's crucial to let them know ASAP.
So don't try to tough it out or wait to see if it gets better on its own.
Exactly. Prompt notification is key, both for your own protection and for the smooth flow of the claim process.
Makes sense.
Oh.
So you've told your employer. What happens next?
The next step is to get a medical assessment from a doctor. And this isn't the time to downplay your symptoms or try to be tough. It's crucial to be open and honest with your doctor about what's going on and how it's affecting you.
I can see how that would be tempting. But you're right. It's important to have accurate documentation of your injuries and symptoms right from the start. So you've got your medical report. What's next? Do you just send it off to the workers' compensation folks and hope for the best?
Not exactly. There's a whole process for lodging the claim. And that's where things can get a bit tricky. You'll need to fill out specific forms, gather supporting documents, and make sure everything is submitted correctly and on time.
This is where having a legal expert on your side would probably be super helpful.
Absolutely. Navigating the paperwork and deadlines can be a lot to handle, especially when you're also dealing with the stress of a workplace injury or illness. Having someone who really knows the ins and outs of the system can make a world of difference. They can help you gather the right documents, make sure your claim is filed correctly, and even advocate for you during the whole process.
It's like having a seasoned guide leading you through unfamiliar territory. So the claim is lodged. What happens next? Is it just a waiting game?
Not exactly. Once the claim is lodged, it goes through an evaluation process. The insurer will review your claim, along with all your supporting documentation, to make sure the injury or illness is genuinely work-related and that the claim is valid.
Makes sense. They want to make sure everything's on the up and up. While you're waiting for the claim to be processed, what about managing the claim itself? Any tips for success that we should keep in mind?
Communication is key. Keep those lines of communication open with your employer, the insurer, and, if you've got one, your legal team. Provide updates on your condition, respond to any requests for information promptly, and don't hesitate to ask questions if you're not sure about anything.
So it's about being proactive and engaged during the whole process, not just sitting back and waiting for things to happen.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of documentation. Keep records of everything: medical appointments, treatments, conversations with your employer or insurer, anything related to your claim.
It's like building a case file, making sure you have all your ducks in a row. And this is where having someone in your corner who really knows the system can be invaluable. It's not just about the paperwork. It's about advocating for your rights, especially when dealing with complex medical situations or a long recovery.
Precisely. It's about making sure you understand what you're entitled to, that you're not being taken advantage of, and that you're equipped to navigate what can feel like a complicated system.
And that's a really empowering message, to know that you have rights and resources available to you, even when facing a challenging situation like a workplace injury or illness.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and understanding how the workers' compensation system works here in WA is the first step towards protecting yourself and making sure you get the support you deserve.
We've been talking a lot about what happens if things go wrong, but what about stopping them before they even start? Foyle Legal touches on workplace safety and those WHS laws. It's all connected, isn't it?
It is. Workers' comp is there for when you need it, but the ideal situation, obviously, is no workplace injuries or illnesses in the first place. That's what those WHS laws are all about: building safer workplaces for everyone.
Right, like better to prevent than to have to deal with the aftermath. And it's not just physical safety either, is it?
Nope. Mental health is a huge part of it, too.
Exactly. And this really stood out to me. Foyle Legal points out that even if you're just a temp, you still have rights under workers' compensation. I bet a lot of people don't realize that.
You're right. That's a big one. Permanent, part-time, casual, even on a fixed contract, doesn't matter. You've got the same protections in WA.
That's huge. It levels the playing field, makes sure everyone's covered. Okay, last thing, because we've been all about WA, but Foyle Legal mentions this push for a more national system. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, there's been talk about trying to make workers' compensation more consistent across Australia, so it's not different everywhere you
So
go.
instead of each state doing its own thing, it'd be more unified.
Exactly. Makes it easier for everyone, employees and employers, if the system's the same no matter where you are. They give examples like ComCare, that's for federal employees, and the Australian Defence Force, they've already got more national systems.
So it's doable. There's already a precedent. Well, this has been a deep dive and a half. We've covered a ton about workers' comp in WA. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners out there? What's the one thing you want them to walk away with today?
Honestly, knowledge is power. The more you know about your rights, what to do if you're injured at work, what resources are there for you, the better off you'll be.
Couldn't agree more. And even with all this, we've just scratched the surface. If anyone's listening and thinking, okay, but what about my situation? What should they do?
Don't hesitate to get advice, real expert advice. Foyle Legal's website's a good starting point, loads of info there, and they've got that free online claim check we talked about. Gives you a personalized snapshot. Never hurts to check, right?
And that's what we love to do here. Give you the tools to navigate this stuff, advocate for yourselves. Knowledge is power, and everyone deserves to feel safe and supported at work. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Personal Injury Claims, explained by Foyle Legal. Remember, this podcast is for informational purposes and isn't legal advice. For advice specific to your situation, visit us at Foyle Legal. And don't forget to subscribe or leave a review.